Welcome to our Rolemaster actual play session. Ain't No Place for a Hero is a campaign set in the world of Duranarki, the continent of men. A gritty, cutthroat world where politics, sorcery, religion, and commerce are all intertwined and reign supreme. Treachery and murder both come cheap, and characters need to be both smart and ruthless to survive. We hope you enjoy our story, and, as always, may the dice roll in your favor. This is episode 118 of Ain't No Place for a Hero. The party have decided that ensuring their friend Keros is revived and healed is their first priority, and have started on their journey to complete this goal. We rejoin our heroes as they arrive in the free city of Kel-Ty-Mon, far to the south in the Sea of Vargus, seeking an experienced healer to revive their fallen comrade. Hello, I'm Chris, otherwise known as GM Chance, and as the words say on screen, welcome to our story. That story is Ain't No Place for a Hero. There are the characters up on screen, all 7 of them. And in a moment or so, I'll be turning over to the players of those characters with a pre-recorded message to talk a little bit about what makes their, a bit more about their character, their background, and a bit more about what makes them tick. And a little bit later in the episode, I'll be asking the players of the characters to again comment a little bit about their characters in relation to a character development question, or perhaps an image that they want to share, just to kind of flesh out the background of each one of those faces up on screen a little bit more. Before I do my now totally habitual and regular shout out, thanks, whatever you want to call it, to our viewers and the people that listen to us on the various places and the various nooks and crannies and Alex alcoves around the internet. And just a particular shout out, well, I was going to say thank you to everybody. We have some very, very loyal viewers, people that are eagerly anticipate each episode that comes out and have been very kind and generous with their thoughts and their advice and their enthusiasm. And it is infectious. You know, we, as I say regularly, this is something we do for fun. But people are, I guess, encouraging us, egging us on, and it's really cool. So thank you very much. Some new viewers to mention. We have Pululon. We have, I love this, Batter's Love Child. We have Rodney Nedlos. We have Robert de Mercurio. And we have Mr. Ross. All of those people have joined up in the last couple of weeks, and just a particularly warm and hearty and sincere Ain't No Place for a Hero, and indeed Twilight of the Old Order, welcome to all of those people and our regular viewers. Alright, so as mentioned, we have pre-recordings. The players, last time they were in person, they recorded a bit about their characters, and we're going to hear, starting us off with those pre-recordings, from Mason. Mason, take it away.
Kia ora, I'm Mason, and for this episode I'm playing Demos. He's a very attractive, very hunky, very buff mixed man. Really great with his spear and shield, and he can whip out some swords if he needs to. He's not the most intelligent person, but he makes up for it with a lot of kindness, a lot of gentleness, except for when he's fighting. and he's been with the party for a little while, has thoroughly enjoyed his time with them, is very much looking forward to saving the world, and on the side he is looking and hoping to find his long lost sister that was kidnapped a long time ago.
Hi, I'm Pete, and in this episode I'll be playing Leif. Leif is a half-elf warrior mage, which means he uses weapons as well as magic. He's a friendly fellow, very empathetic, and a really kind member of the party.
Kia ora, I'm Alex, and for this episode I'm playing Keros. Keros is a young North woman. She's a weather mage, a pretty powerful weather mage with some very cool spells. She's quite sweet and kind, a bit emotionally labile, but wears a heart on her sleeve and a strong moral compass. She also has a companion, a cat called Victory, who's a very important member of the party, and Victory was rescued, oh there's Victory, a wee while ago from impending doom.
Hi, my name's Giles, and for this episode I'm playing Tarquin. So Tarquin is a young, ridiculously good-looking half-elf. During his early life and adolescence, he's been well-trained in the gentle arts of thievery, charming others using his remarkably good looks, and of course, violence. He is in his own way a religious man, and he's out looking for some understanding as to what's happened to his homelands.
Hi, I'm Graham. I play Niathanel Sherakir. She is a magent, which is a mix of stealthy skills, fighting skills, and magic skills, mentalism, magic of the mind. She is a complex character, something of a religious fundamentalist who believes in assassination as a sacred endeavour. She keeps that well hidden, however. She is a dab hand with a short sword, and uses her magic and sneaky ability to good use in sneaking up on her adversaries.
Hi, I'm Aidan and I'm playing Grey. Grey is a very handsome half-elf who doesn't really believe in wearing shirts. He's constantly just displaying his body all the time, which, you know, he's got it, so he's flaunting it. He's got a bit of a tragic backstory. Pretty much everyone he's ever really cared about has been murdered brutally, but despite that, he's still a lovely guy. He's very caring, cares a lot about his teammates and also animals, loves animals, as he is a beastmaster, so he has the power to kind of, I don't know, not control, well, he can control animals, but he can also kind of interact with them and understand them and get them to help him do what he needs to do. When he's not using his magic, he is a bit of a dab hand with an axe. He is very good at chopping things, chopping enemies, and also good with a little bit of stabby and a crossbow as well. He has a bird called Wingy that is his best friend that needs to have a bit more of a story, I guess. She'll come into it a bit more like down the road, I think. Yeah, that's great.
Kia ora, I'm Pete, and I'll be playing Mithan in this episode. Mithan is a ranger. She's a high man. She's pretty good at outdoor skills, and she's a pretty good archer. She's not a people person. She doesn't really care about people's feelings, although she's beginning to in this party.
Hello, I'm Graham. I play Etienne Gilderflower. He is a genitrist, which is a type of paladin or holy warrior. He follows the teachings of Aphrodite, the goddess of love, and he believes that her will leads him on, and he makes decisions based on the dreams he receives or thinks he receives from his goddess. He has joined the party on a mission to, as he understands it, to save the old order, the world as they know it. He is a very charming, very good-looking man, a very eccentric man. Speaks in riddles and rhymes most of the time, but he believes in a higher purpose. He's a very dab hand with a sword, usually found in full plate.
And there we go. So hopefully that's that little recording was useful. It helps you understand both the faces up on screen, but also critically the players, the people behind each one of those characters. Now, as mentioned, as part of our fleshing out or unpeeling of the onion, whatever you want to call it, the background behind a particular character, generally I send out early in the week, we play on a Wednesday night as we are tonight, I send out some character development questions for the players to chew over and answer, but recently either the players have been providing their own questions or providing an image or providing some additional thoughts. And tonight we're starting with the new boy of the team, the new old boy of the team, and that is Aiden with Gray, who has recently switched parties. Aiden, take it away, please.
Hello. Yes, I'm playing Gray tonight, and the image that I'm sharing is Gray's first beast that he bonded with. Her name was Lenora. After his mother. He met Lenora right after his beastmaster who trained him was killed. He was alone in the forest for days, and he was searching for water, and he came across some water, and that's when he saw Lenora. And it was the first time that he had tried to use this particular spell of beast mastery. And he did it, and it was successful. And she was with him for a very long time, and was a faithful partner until, unfortunately, one day she took an arrow for him and was killed. Like pretty much everyone Gray has ever loved in his life. Tragedy happened, but he still thinks of her all the time and talks to her when he walks through the bush. In the forests.
I think actually of anyone, I think the individual with the shortest lifespan in this entire world is anybody associated with Grey Wolfwind. They've had a pretty
sorry, Karas.
Yeah, not great.
Not great.
Fantastic, Aiden. Thank you. Who would you like to hear from next, please?
I would love to hear from Leif.
Cool. Thanks, Aiden. The question I'd like to answer for Leif is, how does your character feel about killing in the name of a greater cause, and where do they draw the line? So for Leif, he doesn't like killing people, but when he can see the purpose, self-defense, or as the question is implying in the greater cause, so long as he can see clearly how the killing he's doing benefits, what the consequences are, and how it benefits sort of more people than just the people he's killed, sort of balances it out, basically. Then that's what he would, then he's okay with it. I suppose really would draw any sort of lines around that as unnecessary cruelty. Doesn't believe in that, doesn't believe in unnecessary suffering. If he's got to kill for a greater cause, he's fine with that, but not, well, he's okay with that, but not kill it. He wants to minimize any suffering. That's him.
Lovely, thanks, mate.
Okay. Sure. Can we please hear from Tarquin?
Tarquin.
So, for Tarquin, do you want to pop the image up, Chris? So here's another image. So you saw a similar sort of image last time we discussed our characters. So unlike that image, this is an image that Tarquin has a very clear recollection of. He knows this is real. And of course his presumption is that the burning relates to the burning in his dreams, but he doesn't know why. He has a strong positive feeling for the man on the left, the elderly male elf. He feels love for him, there's no question about that. He finds that confusing and difficult. And is entirely unsure who the character on the left is. He wants answers about this, but has no idea how to find them. This is an image he can't let go of. In a vaguely related way, this question, how does your character feel about killing in the name of a greater cause, and where do they draw the line? Tarquin's totally good about killing in the name of a greater cause. I'm not sure he sees a particular line, but if there was a line anywhere, it would be religion. So the greater cause would be a religious one in some way, shape, or form.
Excellent.
It would be great to hear from... who do we have? Methane.
Lovely, thank you. So I'm going to play Methane tonight. Pete has very generously allowed me to handle her. So I will,
This is
Kira
Alex.
Ed.
This is Alex.
Oh,
by the
that's
way.
me.
Yep.
That's me, Alex. Because Keros is dead. So I'm going to attempt to answer a question, and Pete, do let me know if I've got it wrong. The question is, how does your character handle success and recognition, and do they seek approval from others? I think in the real world, in Mithan's world, she's not fussed. She's 100% sure of herself. She knows who she is. She knows she's good. And she's not bothered at all by that kind of fanfare around, is she amazing? Is she great? Blah, blah, blah. She doesn't feed off that, and she doesn't thrive off it, because she's got that strong sense of self. But I do think with her time, correct me if I'm wrong, Pete, I do think with her time with the party, and when we joined the other team as well, if somebody from the party was to be genuine in their praise and thanks, she would humbly accept it, and it might be a nod or a pursed lip, or it might be a shrug, but I think actually that would, or it's starting to mean something to her, that in fact there is a community here, everyone has a part to play, and she's a vital member of it. But I think in general society world, she's not bothered. She just does what she wants to do, and she's true to herself, and I think that's really admirable for her.
Excellent.
That's what I hope I read her right, and thanks again for letting me play her. It's always a privilege to play somebody else's baby. So I'm very grateful, considering my character's dead. I would love to hear from Mason with Demos, please.
I'm gonna answer. So what is your character's greatest regret, and do they believe redemption is possible for them? For Demos, it's not being able to save his sister at the same time he saved the princess. So it's his biggest regret. And he, at this point in time, he 100% believes that in redemption, but particularly because it just feels that much closer, because he's now seen her, and just this is the strongest lead he's had since he decided to go and try and find her, and it's basically at the tip of his fingers, being able to rescue her and hopefully make up for the fact that he didn't do it the first time.
Interesting. It very hang on a sec. Watch the space. Okay.
Watch the space. I think it's just Graham.
Not just Graham. Not just Graham. Never
just Graham.
Never just Graham.
Never.
Just Graham. Pete, what was your question again? About killing?
The one that was posted was, how does your character feel about killing in the name of a greater cause, and where do they draw the line?
Right, okay. But I'll answer that one then. Thank you. Nathanal feels absolutely fine about killing for a higher cause. She believes she is on one, and so she believes that the taking of some lives is quite a sacred endeavour, and she's doing her bit to purify society of the corrupt and tyrannical. She's quite extreme in that regard, so she's quite happy about taking lives, and she doesn't really give it much of a second thought and believes she's acting on a higher purpose. Etienne, meanwhile, less so. He will avoid taking a life if he can. He takes no pleasure in it, but if he's on his goddess's cause and people get in the way of what they're doing and what they're trying to do, which is he's on a God-sent mission, so he will, if challenged, respond in kind, but he certainly will not start a fight that ends in death, and he takes no pleasure in it.
Excellent, thank you. So that, gentle viewer and gentle listener, is the team. Those are the faces and the people and the names behind the faces up on screen. Now I'd like to turn over to Pete to give us a very quick summation of where we got up to last time, but as we discussed off camera, Pete, just to a particular point, and then the GM's going to do a little bit of a redo, because I felt I probably could have done a little bit more, provided a little bit more colour with some of your travels last week. So Pete, please, if you could just very briefly recap where the game got up to last time.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah. So last session began with us in Landana in the I'm going to call it a safe house, our lodging, our secret lodging. Sort of, I think it was sort of night time, and we'd had a mob start. There were rioters in the streets, and we were feeling a little bit threatened in our accommodation. It didn't seem to be directed at us quite, but we were halfway. We started halfway through us climbing up the ladder and out the window onto the wall behind the house to just distance ourselves from them. So we finished doing that. We all made it out onto the wall, and spent the rest of the night there. During which time Parkland took the opportunity to fire at one of the rioters and shot him through the heart, and he fell off his little plank walkway quite satisfyingly. Excellent shot. So we spent the night spent a few hours on the top of the wall whilst things calmed down. People didn't seem to go much further into the house we were staying in, so after Nathanal checked us back out, we all made our way back inside and spent the rest of the night there. In the following day, our contact didn't make her appointment in the morning, but did arrive later in the day and explained that she missed the initial appointment because initial meeting time, as things are still a bit dangerous in the city. She let us know that she'd actually continued with finding information about cities and some options for us of cities for us to go to pursue healing for Kiros, restoring Kiros' life. She also let us know that she's making progress on our travel plans to Terek Neb, which we will be wanting to do once we've returned from healing Kiros. And the other piece of information you passed on was that whilst our group was not being sought by bounty hunters in Landana for the accusation of killing the Oracle of Pytha, which we were innocent of course. Whilst our bounty hunters in the other parts of Kentana Sea are looking for us, they didn't quite make it to Landana, but there was one man, an Arab-looking man, who we did figure was the seer from the Seer's Tower, way back in the far north in Pelan, where we had to rid his tower of some bandits. We didn't know he was still alive. We didn't know it was particularly his tower. But we did take items from there, and we had wind of him pursuing us at other times. But she did let us know that there was someone fitting his description, asking about us and Landana. So that's a bit worrying because we know him to be a very powerful magic user. So all the better for us having an exit plans from Landana to seek healing for Kyros in cities far from there. I'm just going to check that I haven't missed anything. No, I think that's pretty much it. Over to you, Chris.
Or maybe just round off that you left Landana as well.
Oh, right. So we did leave Landana. We via the Navigator Stones, and we were the place we had chosen to go to was Path, and then we will go to try our luck at Path and move on to Kel-Ty-Mon if we didn't find healing in Path.
Excellent. Thank you very much indeed, Pete. Fantastic. Excellently summarised as per usual. Any questions from any of the players? Anything that's not clear? Anything that's not obvious before we kick off? Going once. Going twice. Okay. Let's kind of start the game. I'll come to the kind of in a second. So my comment about kind of was I felt last session was maybe a little bit rushed, and as I explained to the players off camera, I'd like to do a redo. And one of the great things about being a GM is you can do it. You can just flick back a little bit. So I'm actually going to go back in time a little bit and just provide the players and indeed our audience just a little bit more colour about the group's travels and what they saw and experienced. It'll be a bit of narration from me for the players, so make sure you're sitting comfortably and have got something tasty to eat and drink beside you. I don't plan to speak forever, but it will be a bit of narration from me. One last point is I made a change to the dates. I'd said that you'd actually arrived, done a very quick change, and then taken a ship all in one day, arrived in the city of Hearth, made a decision, and then moved on. As we said off camera, thinking about it didn't quite work actually with kind of how this world works, so I've actually adjusted the story, tweaked the story a smidge, and said you've actually stayed 3 days in Hearth, and I'll do a bit of narration on that. So, I will begin. After touching the ancient navigator column of black stone in the fetid, rank swelter of the crumbling building in Landana, with a sickening lurch in your stomach and a dizzying swirl of magic, in an instant you and your companions are transported to somewhere else. You find yourselves in a heavily guarded room. The atmosphere is charged with the metallic scents of polished armor and the musty odor of old stone. Soldiers in strange armor, bristling with unusual weapons, surround you, their eyes sharp and suspicious. A young woman with dark hair steps forward, and introducing herself in halting Vargonese is Moon, your guide and host. She goes on to welcome you to Hearth, the capital city of Hathor, the land of the Windtalkers. Her voice is soft, but carries an air of authority. She gestures for you to follow her, leading you through the winding streets. Some images of Hearth. The city is a stark contrast from what you're accustomed to. The people of Hearth move with a sense of purpose, their eyes widening in curiosity as they notice your diverse and unusual party. Hearth seems to be a monocultural place, The inhabitants all sharing a certain uniformity in its appearance and dress. Their behaviour and their customs appear strange to you. A reminder that you're far from home. And Half definitely seems to be an odd place. Wind and breezes, and you can hear the winds rushing behind you, is clearly important. This is walking through a large plaza in Half, and the local children are out flying kites, and you get a sense that there are a number of priests around watching them and clearly encouraging them. You can see a few priests in the image encouraging these youngsters to celebrate and revel in the wind. Le-Mon takes you into a quieter neighborhood. Looks a bit like this. The buildings here are slightly more humble and worn. She takes you up several flights of stairs into a large, slightly run-down stone building, and finally stopping at a modest 3-room apartment on the 5th floor. The rooms are cramped but clean. The scent of simple home-cooked meals linger in the air. Le-Mon explains that she serves a wealthy local lord. She serves a wealthy local lord and offers what hospitality she can. In her broken Vargonese, and it's mainly through both Demos, who speaks Vargonese, and Tarquin as translator, she tells you all that the local healers are very wary of outsiders. So she had got the brief previous to your arrival, but yeah, the local healers are quite suspicious of outsiders. And it will take her at least 10 days to convince senior enough healers to see if anything can be done for Keros. Alternatively, she suggests travelling to the well-renowned healing centre of Kel-Ty-Mon, a short 50 or 60 miles by ship south of here. Your party decides to move on to Kel-Ty-Mon. For the next 3 days, you stay in Le-Mon's cramped apartment. The food and drink she provides is adequate, but not remarkable. A reminder of the simplicity of her means. You make use of the nearby bathhouse to clean yourselves and the privy at the end of the hall. The locals' curiosity keeps you on edge, but you decide to keep a low profile. However, you venture out occasionally to stretch your legs, feeling the cobblestones beneath your boots and the cool air on your face. Mithan, the gruff ranger of the North Sea, stands out even more in the confines of Le-Mon's neighborhood. Her massive frame and rugged, unattractive appearance draw stares. Mithan spends most of her time with her eyes on Keros's coffin when in the apartment, not asleep. Leif, the half-elven warrior mage, practices his spells in the quiet corner, his fingers tracing arcane patterns in the air. His good-natured demeanor helps ease out some of the tension, and he uses his spells to create small, comforting illusions for Victory, Keros's kitten, who mews sadly for her lost companion. Neathanel, the distant but centered elf with a talent for stealth, spends a little of her time discreetly exploring the shadows and corners of Le-Mon's neighborhood, learning the ins and outs of the place and ensuring the party is as safe as it can be. Her even temper remains unruffled, though her eyes often dart to the coffin, betraying her worry. Etienne, the large, extremely handsome half-elf missing a hand, prays to Aphrodite, the Keros' soul. He often takes the lead in conversations with Le-Mon via his friends to translate, his charm and good looks making it easy to communicate despite the language barrier. His plate mail gleams, even in the dim light of the apartment, a symbol of hope and protection. Grey, the shirtless, half-elf beastmaster, with his companion Wingy, the peregrine falcon, spends much of his time tending to the falcon and scouting the area from rooftops. Grey seems somewhat aloof, but his eyes soften whenever he glances at the coffin, a reminder of the fragile thread connecting him to the group. Tarquin, the young, extremely good-looking half-elf new to the group, spends his days trying to fit in, learning the group's dynamics. He often stays close to Etienne, his mentor, and assists with tasks around the apartment. His fresh presence adds a touch of optimism to the group's somber mood. Demos, the large, quiet spearman from the nearby Sea of Thibron, keeps mostly to himself, his stoic nature offering silent support. He stands guard during the night, his good looks hidden behind a mask of vigilance. Keros's kitten, Victory, just once more. Keros's kitten, Victory, stays close to the coffin, her tiny paws kneading the shroud when she gets the opportunity, as if trying to wake her beloved companion. Her soft mews echo the collective longing for Keros's return. 3 days later, at dawn of Queen's Day on 16th Year's End, Lay Moon leads you down to the docks. It's a little bit loud, just a smidge, just a sec. Quite get the sound right, there we go. It's a little bit better. Leads you down to the docks. The sky is streaked with the first light of day. The sea breeze carrying the salty tang of the ocean. You board a ship that Lay Moon has arranged and paid for, the wood creaking beneath your weight as you step aboard. Shouldn't say that. As the ship sails across the Vargus Sea, the journey is calm and uneventful. The morning sun glints off the waves, the sea stretching out a vast expanse of blue. Each member of your party finds their own way to pass the time with their thoughts. Again, Victory the kitten stays close to the coffin, her tiny form a constant reminder of the group's mission. Her soft mews echo the collective longing for Keros's return as the ship cuts through the gentle waves towards Kel-Ty-Mon. Just altering your sounds. Kel-Ty-Mon emerges before you, a symphony of sounds, sights, and scents, captivating your senses from the moments you set out onto its sun-kissed shores. The city's architecture, predominantly crafted in pinkish-white marble, rises in graceful arcs and sturdy columns, adorned with intricate carvings of elven motifs, and some images here that I shared previously. There we go. The city's I mentioned that's trees. They're leafy. Their leaves are verdant green against the backdrop of azure skies. Line the cobblestone streets where fountains gurgle with crystal clear water. Despite the occasional weathered facade, the city's overall demeanor is one of enduring elegance and meticulous craftsmanship. You also notice, much to particularly Victory's interest, there seem to be a very good number of stray cats and cats in general throughout the city. Just a few more images of those. See a few cats there. As the ship docks, you are greeted by a woman. A woman who introduces herself as the widow Antithis, a modestly dressed middle-aged human woman who also introduces her 17-year-old son, Alf. Their smiles appear to be genuine and welcoming. She speaks to you in Sindarin, the Elven language, the common Elven language. Alf, despite his youth, exudes quiet confidence as he assists his mother with your arrival and arrangements. The widow Antithis explains that she has been informed of your journey and is here to guide you throughout the city and is indeed your host. You notice as you walk through the city streets quite a large amount of bunting and banners being put up around the city streets. And in various places, it looks as though local workers are painting and cleaning certain streets, buildings, and fountains. Leif, the half-elven warrior, marvels at the magical undercurrents that weave through Kel-Ty-Mon like a symphony of arcane whispers. Just coming. Again, Leif, the half-elven warrior mage, marvels at the magical undercurrents that weave through Kel-Ty-Mon, like a symphony of arcane whispers. As he passes a shop window adorned with shimmering elements, he pauses to admire the intricate spellwork. His fingers twitch with a latent desire to unravel the mysteries hidden within the city's libraries and academic halls, where, perhaps, knowledge flows as freely as the city's fountains. Neathanel, Neathanel's agile form melds seamlessly into the shadows that dance across Kel-Ty-Mon's sunlit streets. Her sharp eyes dart from side to side, from one alleyway to another, always alert for the faintest hint of danger. Despite the city's tranquil appearance, does she perceive a sense of undercurrent, of intrigue beneath the surface? Whispers of ancient secrets and political maneuvering that could rival the stealthiest of thieves? Grey, the half-elven beastmaster, finds himself inexplicably drawn towards the city's avian resident. Wingy, his peregrine falcon companion, surveys the rooftops with keen interest, her sharp eyes reflecting the city's hustle and bustle below. Grey's bare chest, exposed to the warm sun, speaks of his affinity to nature and his indifference to the conventions of city life. Yet beneath his somewhat aloof demeanour lies a fierce loyalty to his companions and a determination to see Keros healed. Tarquin, the youthful half-elf, excludes an infectious enthusiasm as he explores Kel-Ty-Mon's bustling markets with his eyes. His easy charm and insatiable curiosity draws smiles from shopkeepers and passers-by alike. Each new discovery, a vibrant tapestry, delicately crafted potion vial, perhaps fuels his desire to learn more about the city's culture and its renowned reputation for healing arts. Again, Victory, Keros' young cat companion, finds solace in the city's leafy thoroughfares and the comforting presence of her companions. Her soft fur brushes against Mithan's rough hands or Tarquin's outstretched fingers, as she seeks reassurance amid the city's bustling crowds and unfamiliar scents of both humans and other cats. The air is alive with a gentle hum of scholarly discourse and the melodic notes of street musicians, their melodies reaving through the bustling markets and quiet courtyards alike. Every corner reveals a new tableau of cultural richness, artisans working in open-air studios, scholars engaged in animated debates under sheltered verandas, and healers tending to patients with gentle hands and soothing words. The scent of freshly baked bread mingles with the exotic spices from the bustling market stalls, enticing passers-by with the promise of culinary delights. Scholars and students alike traverse the streets in flowing robes of violent hues, their faces illuminated by the joy of discovery as they pursue knowledge. Elven and human alike, the city's inhabitants exude a sense of communal harmony and intellectual curiosity, their interactions steeped in a sharp reverence for the arts, science, and the natural world. The sky, a canopy of pure blue, casts a luminescent glow over the city's well-tended gardens and open plazas. A gentle sea breeze, carrying hints of salt and seaweed from the nearby Vargus Sea, whispers through the streets, providing respite from the midday sun. The widow Antithus leads you through Kel-Ty-Mon's bustling streets, her knowledge of the city evident as she navigates the crowded thoroughfares with ease. As you approach the heart of Kel-Ty-Mon, the widow Antithus gestures towards a grand marble building ahead. This is the healing sanctum, she explains in her melodic voice, where healers from Gulithson and local healers practice their ancient arts. The promise of hope lingers in her words, a beacon drawing you closer to your goal. As you follow Widow Antithus and Elf through the winding streets Kel-Ty-Mon, Kel-Ty-Mon, you carry Keros's coffin solemnly, drawing sympathetic glances from passers-by. The city, with its pinkish-white marble buildings and leafy greenery, provides a serene backdrop to your somber profession. Eventually, you arrive at a large, slightly shabby, standalone three-story stone house, where the widow Antithus explains that this is her and Elf's guest house. Inside, the guest house exudes a welcoming atmosphere, despite its need for some repairs. Each party member is surprised to find that you have your own room on the third floor, all adjacent to each other. The other residents of the guest house seem reclusive, preferring privacy. After stowing your equipment and freshening up, you are led downstairs to a spacious private room, overlooking an internal courtyard with a soothing fountain. The room is lit by soft daylight filtering through the window, casting gentle shadows on the worn wooden table and chairs. The fountain outside provides some soothing background murmur. Elf stands nearby, listening intently, his face reflecting concern and curiosity. Widow Antithus, after ensuring the party is refreshed with food and drink, finally addresses them. She says, in Sindarin, "You are most welcome. I hope that your journey was a pleasant one, and I hope that this food and drink has refreshed you. Again, myself and my son bid you welcome to our humble abode. You are our honored guests. I know a little about why you are here, but please tell me more, and tell me more of how we can be of assistance." And she turns to the party.
Okay, well, Etienne will pick up the conversation, I guess, and be his charming self, and start with some pleasantries, and then go in to explain something of the calamity that our party has found itself in with a beloved member fallen, and would very much we would like to bring her back with the assistance of a great healer that we hope to make the acquaintance of, and we'll hand over to someone with all the medical details. But someone who actually knows what they're talking about. Life.
Oh, you too. Well, Leifert doesn't speak Sindarin, so he was wanting happy for someone else to talk. But and I think it would be Mithan perhaps who would know more.
Okay.
As a healery person.
Nathanal's happy to translate anyway.
And I think that Mithan, Alex is be right back, I think. So are you there, Alex? So maybe I'll speak for Mithan until she's back. If it's,
Please, yeah.
Yep. So basically, Mithan would want to say that, from her understanding of the restoration of life, that we need to achieve three things. That she needs organs repaired. So we're seeking healing. She needs organs repaired. Someone of sufficient skill, or skill in magic, or skill in herbs, to restore her heart and lung. Then we would require her to be brought back to life by the use of a herb that they actually have in their possession. So we need someone skilled in the use of herbs. And then we would need someone skilled in the use of sort of the restoration of the body due to deterioration. I don't know exactly which words to use, but meaning getting her stats back up by way of herbs, or this particular crystal that I think the party's been told about, or by spells. That's the information that she thinks that they will need to know to sort of set us up for those things.
What happened to the poor girl? And by the way, is this via a translator, Mitham, or
it would have to be via a translator, absolutely, because she doesn't speak Elvish.
Okay.
Can I just double check as well, by the way? Is this city? No. And the conversations you've heard, or in her impression, is it considered to be an elven city?
Not elven. I mean, certainly a very, very heavy elven population. You would have seen easily 40% of the population is elven, but it is a predominantly human city.
I'll just add at this point that one of Mithan's 3 character goals is travel to an elven city or settlement to understand their culture. So she's got this bias towards elves. She thinks they're wonderful. She had a very good experience with a random group of elves when she was younger, and so she's in her way sort of excited to be a step closer to being in an elven city, or something approximating that. So I'll just say, however, Alex, you want to play that out if there's opportunities, she would be. I think the rest of the party would perhaps notice a slight difference in Mithan's usual demeanour. So Mithan would answer, I suppose, I think I can't remember what our explanation was. Just that Kiros was attacked by some sort of beast that had some sort of poisonous breath or ability. I don't remember exactly what we'd decided on. Anything else remember what we'd said in Dana? But then we'll give the explanation that we gave in Landana.
Okay. Okay. Well, the widow Antithus looks around the rest of the party, seeking for perhaps further information or comments. Doesn't appear to be forthcoming unless anybody else speaks.
So I think Tarquin might
Does he speak
perk up at
Sindarin,
this stage.
by the way?
He does extremely well.
Okay.
Like almost can't speak it better, and would tap Etienne on the chest. Etienne's only got one hand, right?
Correct.
And I think he'd tap him on the chest and say, in whatever the correct idiomatic colloquialism would be, it'd be good if we could help old Tin Can here to get a bit more handy, and point to the fact he's only got one of them, not two. I presume he doesn't speak, that Etienne doesn't speak Sindarin, and we kind of give him a sidelong look, and ask her if it might be possible, if we're going to heal a couple of organs in one, if we might be able to fix an organ in another. So he wouldn't want to see this opportunity missed.
Okay. Etienne, any response?
Oh, Etienne he'd be chuffed if he understood Tarquin, but he doesn't speak Sindarin.
Oh, okay. And Tarquin doesn't translate. Okay.
Oh, he does. That's great.
He'd be and tell Etienne what he's doing and saying, "Look, we need to find you another hamburger."
Oh well, I mean, yeah, he doesn't. The trouble is that Etienne doesn't really have any money. That's the thing. But that's very kind. Yes. Well, I mean, I guess no harm getting a price.
Okay. Nothing from anybody else? Anybody else present? Just want to give everybody... No?
No.
Okay. So the woman up on screen, she looks saddened, and she said, "Well, I'm deeply sorry to hear of your loss, particularly under such tragic circumstances. Reviving people from the dark path is hard, but not unknown, as you'll be aware. And you should be happy and indeed rejoice that you are in, that I'm aware of, one of the foremost seats of both learning and healing, at least in these good southern seas. You'll be pleased to know that I have contacted, on the instruction that I was given by my superior, regional superior, that your group was seeking a prestigious and prominent healer, and you'll be pleased to know that I have managed to contact, through some good luck and she turns to her son, and through some good efforts of my son, thank you, Elf, one of the most prestigious healers in Kel-Ty-Mon. Her name is Lady Safina of the Whispering Balm Clinic. Lady Safina is highly accomplished, highly skilled, very, very senior at her craft. Maybe not the most in Kel-Ty-Mon, there are others, but she is certainly well known and well respected. She's healed kings and princes and bishops, and she does have a good reputation. As I say, it has been difficult to contact her on your behalf, but we have managed to do so. I've never met her, of course. She is rumoured to be a very kind woman, but due to her great skill, she is not cheap. I hope you have coin. I think it would be remiss of me to advise you that if you feel comfortable enough and confident enough in your dealings with her, and of course you will meet her, I shall not, that you may want to gently test Lady Safina's prices, but I would caution you with not too much haggling would be wise. This is not some fishwife in the marketplace you were dealing with, but rather one of the foremost healers in this fair city. By the way, it does seem like a fair city from what you've seen. As I say, I've not met her myself, but I have been told by intermediaries when you do meet her, please don't comment on her appearance. Something about a curse and a tragic love affair or something in her past. Depending on the impression you make on her, I suspect may impact on exactly how helpful she may end up being, or so I'm led to believe. And at that point, her eyes stray down to some of the people in the group who are wearing some more travel-stained and blood-stained and patched clothing.
So I guess Tarquin would ask her in Sadarin if she's aware of whether this healer is likely to take compensation in any form other than money, gold coin. No, if she doesn't know, that's fine.
Not that I'm aware of. As far as I know, Lady Safina is a wealthy woman. She does give most of her earnings back to various charities in the city, but no, she provides her services for a fee.
Profusely for information.
You sit in silence.
Oh, so was that all that she indicates that's all she had to say?
Turn to the group and say we need to arrange to meet her.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Like it.
yeah. So we need to we need to decide who's going to go.
Go about arranging an audience.
Yeah. And, when we can do that, please. Well, Nathan can't speak the language. Oh, sorry, Leif can't speak the language.
It's already been arranged. I was alerted to your presence and to your arrival, and you meet her at 9 bells tomorrow morning.
Fantastic. So obviously, what's Tarquin's charm like?
I'll just check, but it's pretty good. Andy speaks Sindarin to 9, so he speaks the language very well. So his charm is 85. Yeah, so
Cool.
85, yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, if you wouldn't.
He'd be after a bit of guidance from Mithan about what to ask for to do the chit-chatting.
Well, I think Mithan will have to come along. Maybe not. Doesn't have to say much, but if you could do the chat, and we'll better give you a bit of a polish before then.
Yeah, like quite a lot of a polish. Tarquin admits he's bad with money, so I have no idea what the likely cost of this is, although I think we're just going to have to accept whatever we're asked to pay.
Does seem that way, but being well turned out and charming will no doubt help. Yeah, so I mean, I guess let's present our best side as a group, huh?
Yeah.
So
we want just 2 of us to go, or everyone?
I don't know that everyone needs to go, really.
You're probably
They need
right.
someone to carry the coffin.
Yeah. Definitely. I don't know what. Well, who else can speak Sindarin apart from Niathanor and Tarquin?
Grey cannot, unfortunately. He's pretty, though.
Well, if we had a couple of big boys to carry the coffin,
He's happy to carry the coffin.
Etienne can take the other half, yeah. And they could both look
Then
pretty.
doesn't speak it. She's not so pretty, but Mithan could help.
Yep.
All right, well, we'll go back and polish ourselves up and put our best clothes on.
Do you have
Do
bits?
we want to grab all our money? Do we want to go and buy clothes so we look good? Because I presume clothes are cheap and might make a big difference, because I'm guessing the spell is going to be like wildly expensive. And the other thing Tarquin would want to know is, presumably I'm going to ask for the cost of heart and lungs, and I'm going to ask for the cost of a hand, and I'm going to ask for the cost of whatever we could do to bring her back to life, and I'm going to ask for the cost of improving her power points, right? That's lots of, and we want it broken down like that. Is that right?
Yeah, her stats. Yeah, her stats, not her PowerPoints. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry,
That's in the game chat.
Sorry, GM is going to interrupt here, please, and I'm going to ask for a very, very important dice roll, please. Can someone please roll a 1d12?
It has to be you, Alex. This is about Kyrios. Surely.
Okay. 1d12.
Mm-hmm.
It's an 8.
It's an 8. Okay, cool. Thank you. That's what I need. Thank you.
Okay, that sounds promising.
Does it?
We didn't go,
He didn't say it was interesting. That's a good thing, right?
Yeah, that's so true. Oh, interesting.
Interesting is
we all pick
terrible.
up on your nuances.
Cool. Sorry, ignore me. What do you guys do? Talk about it. Have a chat.
So Tarquin's going to want to get touched by someone who knows the money. And if I'm doing the talking when we get there, interrupt me if I get it wrong, please, team.
Because if we have that discussion first, then it's not out of.
Yeah, no, that's right. It's so it would be as if it was. It's and I still feel crappy. So I'm just going to forget things. I'm worried.
So how much are we prepared to spend? I mean, well, how much can we spend?
Those 4 things, right? So I think it says here it's going to be 195 gold pieces.
What do we got? Can't remember.
Oh my God, is that per stat, do you think, Pete?
Yeah, so that's the spell. So the breakdown. So what I suppose, I think the group's understanding of what needs to happen is a spell or a herb, or spells or herbs to do the heart and lungs. So that's while she's still dead. Mithan, well, the group has 2 doses of a very expensive and quite rare herb that does life-giving. So we can provide that herb, but we need someone who's able to apply it. So we need someone who's hopefully the same person, skilled at giving the herb.
We know if she does herbs as well as spells? Or?
Let's find out. We'll hopefully. Yeah. We don't know if she's a herby person or a spelly person or both. Probably, I would be guessing both, maybe. So once she has, and at that point, Kyrios will be alive. So once heart and lungs are restored, that should be hopefully two spells. Not sure. Then Kyrios and the herb has been applied. Kyrios will be alive. At that point, she needs to get her stats back up, so she's back to a sort of she's not too disabled. And so I'm not sure how many stats that will be. We'll have to, I suppose, that we'll play that out and ask, how strong are you feeling? What are you feeling? How dull are you feeling?
Are you 76 or 83%?
Yeah, exactly. So it looks like, and so that spell, that's a cost for the spell, the 13th level spell, which would restore 30 points to each stat. She might need more restoration on some stats, and it would have to be, and that 195 GP is per spell cast.
Yeah, I should have robbed the goddamn cathedral before we left Landana. I'm sorry.
To do what?
I was going to steal all their money.
And also, I've just put on the bottom of our wee notes there, just at any point, it'd be quite nice to get her looking a little bit better. She's got a hole in her cheek, and there might be some other rot damage that just wasn't able to, that had happened before we were able to preserve her. So it'd be nice for her to get those cosmetics fixed if possible.
Can I just check in terms of the order of expense? Heart and lung is our most important priority. Return to life is our next most important priority. And then is our next most important priority Etienne's hand or her stats?
Her stats. Sorry, Etienne, I think it's her stats because we need to get her empathy up, is my understanding. Alex, feel free to chime in, but I believe that her, that's what determines her power point. And if she doesn't have high enough power points to cast spells, she's going to be sad. Yeah. So there'll be certain, perhaps that's where negotiation can happen, that we'll see which stats are the most important to restore and which ones perhaps we don't need to concentrate on.
Alex, are you happy for me to share?
I've got the documents probably you're looking at too. But yes, empathy, 100%. But yes, please go, GM. You'll say it better than me.
I've just shared it in the main game chat. So that is Keros dead.
Yeah, that's a disaster. Okay, so we need to go big on empathy, is that right? And maybe something in the other ones as we can.
Yeah, definitely empathy, because that's the spells, right? Like, that's the... Yeah. Like, what's the point of her?
Except if you've got no strength, you'll have no hit points, right? So you've got...
that can be true. That can be mitigated, though, because... as Dad says, I need to stay back in the line when there's a fight, and she's very well protected. I think for me, empathy for the spells is number one.
Reasoning.
How much is Etienne's fighting ability impaired by only having one hand?
He's got a prosthetic applied that links to his shield. So, not massively. It's just moving around. It's just kind of anything like climbing or anything like that. It's a bit of a disaster. But,
with one hand, it's going to be impossible.
But, it looks like we've got a lot of stats.
How much money does this group have?
Potentially we've got 7,863 GP.
Oh, we're loaded.
Oh, we're doing all right. Well, some of us are. Yeah. Oh no, yeah.
Let's go shopping.
What's great is whoever has changed the sheet has put all of Gray's cash under Etienne, by the looks of it. So I don't know what you got. That's excellent.
Oh, sorry. Whoops.
No, I don't know. I can only think that must be the case. Actually, that's a good point. Actually, we don't know. We haven't really done any. I don't suppose since Gray's moved across. We haven't moved his money across, so we would have a bit more than what's there.
But we should have enough. So we want to get this money into like the highest currency, easiest to carry kind of a load we can. Whack it in the coffin, put 4 of us in the coffin. I guess we need to ask her about the herbs and spells. We need to ask her if it's safe to walk through town with 7,000 gold pieces and a dead body.
Well, we're walking around with all that money on us, so...
Oh, that's true, I suppose. We stick 4 people on the coffin, and Tarquin comes along, and we go find this person and see what we can do.
I absolutely agree with cleaning ourselves up and shopping for clothes to make a good impression.
Cool. Yep.
Absolutely good. So I think we do that for the rest of the day, because it's early. What's that time of day at the moment?
Early afternoon.
Yeah, so we've got a little bit of time to actually do shopping now and later in the morning.
And Sindarin is the language of the city, is it? Chris?
I don't know. Who are you asking?
You.
I don't exist.
We have heard people speak as we come here. What languages have we heard fluently and clearly?
I can answer that question. So a lot of Varganese, a lot of Sindarin, a lot of... Hang on, just get the language list up.
A lot of seagull.
Yep. Fair few seagulls. Thibronic, a lot of Thibronic. A moderate amount of Thibronic. A little bit of Thibronic, let's go with that actually. Vargonese, you've picked up. I don't think anybody here speaks Gruk. You also... there is definitely a fair bit of the speech of the Noldor elves you've picked up. So Quenya, there's a lot of Noldor or the most noble elves here. Definitely Sindarin, as I've mentioned. No one's really heard any Bethatur, which is the Wood Elf speech. Other languages... Yeah, that'd be it. So definitely the predominance would be Sindarin, Noldor, and Vargonese.
Okay, so Tarquin can speak all of those extremely well. We need somebody who can do that haggling thing. What's it called? Trading? Does anyone have a buying skill?
I don't think any of us do, that I'm aware of.
Nothing, I think does. Is that right, Alex?
Oh, really?
Just checking the form. What is it? Buying.
Trading.
Trading, I think.
Oh,
is what
trading.
it's
Oh, yep. She's got trading plus 18.
called. 8-0.
Oh, 1-8.
8. All right. Does she speak any of those?
Sorry, 1-8. Trading. Let me just move along. Plus 1-8.
And from a technical perspective, Chris, does it help if you can charm the crap out of someone as opposed to trade with them?
It might soften them up a little bit, but materially, trade is the way to go. There is as we've mentioned a few times, there is a secondary skill that you can use, or a part of a secondary skill. Assuming you can speak the language, of course. That secondary skill is, from memory, lie perception. Lie, I think. Social skills.
Okay.
Just give me a sec.
I hope it's lie perception.
Just let me check. Trading, trade law. Yeah, lie perception. You get a quarter of lie perception.
Okay, so Tarquin's lie perception's 75.
Sorry, hang on, let me finish. For trading, you can either get a quarter of duping or a quarter of lie perception for a trading roll. Either duping.
Okay, he'll go for a quarter. Right, he'll go for a quarter of duping because his duping's 96, so that would give him 24. As a trading skill, and he speaks these languages: Sindarin at 9, Vargonese at 9, and Thibronic at 10. Just so the group knows. So, as long as I've got your sizes, I think Tarquin can probably haggle for clothes.
Sounds good.
Go Bison. Does he want to go on his own? Does someone want to come with him?
No, definitely someone go with. Nathanal speaks the language. She'll come with you.
Excellent. So I guess Chris, Nathanal, and Tarquin will have a chat to this woman. We'll ask her if she knows if the healer uses spells or herbs or both.
Yes, I have been informed on that. Lady Saphira is gifted in both incantations and the use of potions, herbs, and tonics and poultices. Yes, both.
She's a good all-rounder. Brilliant. I'll ask her if she knows where we can find clothes and perfumes, if that's a thing, that are likely to be to her liking, so we can go and purchase clothing to make ourselves appropriately attired to have an audience, and where she might recommend.
By tomorrow?
Is that possible? We don't need them to be tailored for us. We're happy with Greta Porter.
I had assumed you would come garbed. Alf here can, yes, he can take you to Scissor Street, and in Scissor Street, you should be able to find something. It may not fit especially well, but perhaps they could pin it for you. My advice is those that are going to meet with Lady Saphira tomorrow, you all are going to be made to measure. At least they can make small alterations on what you can buy off the rack. You'll be going to a lesser quality tailor, I'm afraid, because the proper quality tailors, and they have amazing tailors in the city, if you went in and asked for something for tomorrow, they would laugh in your face. But you could get something that would be adequate.
Thank you for her advice. I'd ask her if there's any possibility her son could accompany us to show us where to go.
Of course, of course.
I guess we'd ask if there's any other recommendations she had. Do we need to buy soaps and shampoos? Does she have that stuff? We're happy to buy it, and if someone will be able to show us so we can be properly clean and attired before we go to see her tomorrow.
So there is a bathhouse, unusually, actually associated with the guest house that she manages. Slightly tired facilities, but they would do. They would be adequate.
In which case, I think we'd go back and tell the group. We'd suggest that Ethanol and Tarquin head out with the sun and that the others bathe. And maybe Tarquin would suggest to one-handed he might like to brighten himself up. I presume he has something to polish up his armor. And I guess we head out.
Okay. Thank you. I'll go through, just quickly zip through everybody to hear and see what they might be doing. Demos, anything in particular you're doing?
Oh, no, he's just chilling, listening,
okay,
observing.
Alrighty. Anything for Grey?
He's just happy to help where he can. He's going to guard the coffin until it's moved. He's just going to stand guard.
Okay.
Hang out with Wingy.
Alright. Mithan?
I think Mithan will want to keep vigil, but not too close. Not too emotional, but she'll be keeping an eye. She will probably also keep an eye on Victory. Again, not too close, not too emotional, but she might, try a cat toy or something. I don't know if that's a bit too much for her. I don't know what Victory's doing at the minute. But again, yeah, anyone who needs help, she's happy to help out.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Leif?
Cool. So they could want to just check who's going to be going. Before we sort of go our separate ways, Leif would want to establish who's going to be going to meet the healer. So Tarquin definitely. And we're saying Mithan is going.
Mithan too?
I think so. Yep, Tarquin and Mithan, just in case.
Yep.
Need a minimum of 4 to carry the coffin, right?
2? 4?
4. Coffins are heavy, bro.
Right. So we will need to get all of these people fitted with clothes. We'll need to buy clothes for all of these people, though. Right?
Do we have any paper?
Sorry?
Tarquin would want to jot down measurements inside out, outside out, chest, waist, inside, outside.
Isn't it better to get the people to go so they can actually be measured?
Yeah, good idea. Good idea. We should all go.
Yeah. So Tarquin and Mithan, would they help with carrying the coffin? Perhaps Mithan would. So Nathan to go?
Yep, sure. Yep. She got a backup speaker anyway. Necessary.
So Mithan, Nathan, Demos and Grey can carry the coffin, or Leif, or
Demos would be happy to help.
Demos and Grey. Those are people. Leif would want to go. He's close to Kiros and would like to be there if this is the time she's going to wake up. But happy to for other people who are close to her to go to. So that's Demos and Grey. So Mythan, Demos, Neathel, Tarquin, and Grey need to go and get physical clothes. That leaves Leif and Etienne staying behind.
And look, absolutely traditionally, you have 6 people carrying a coffin. That's the tradition.
Do we want to take everyone? I don't think we want to with all of the supply clothes for everyone. I don't know.
No, okay, look, we'll just go with those people. Pete, that's a good call.
Yeah. Well, that would be Leif's suggestion. I mean, if we have got other thoughts, that's fine. But otherwise, Leif would just be tending to Kyros' body whilst everyone else is out, basically, and chatting with Etienne.
So
I
Etienne,
think
sorry.
Tarquin might suggest that we rotate through the bath because we've all got to get clean. So somehow we all need to get into that bathhouse and give ourselves a good scrub and wash our hair.
We've got till tomorrow morning, though.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but yes, great, absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So I picked up on that. That was a bit of chopping and changing, but everybody bar Leif and Etienne are heading out to get as fitted as they can be, with the other 2 remaining, correct?
Yep, correct.
Great, thank you. Okay, so does anybody any weapons that people, or any obvious weapons that people take with them, or anything I should need to know about that people are taking with them is probably a better way of asking the question. Okay.
Tarquin will take one deck and leave everything else behind.
I missed that, sorry, Giles.
Tarquin will take 1 dagger and leave everything else behind.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Gray's going to have his hand axe, and Wingy's going to be flying above.
Hang on, do we want to take a hand axe? What's what for people walking the streets? How many are carrying kind of blades? Do we know?
Let's ask our host. What's the system with carrying weapons in town? We're going to get undressed and redressed, right? So we'll ask our host. I'll zip down and ask her. We're heading out. Normally in towns we don't know. We'd carry a weapon, albeit a small one. That's our common practice. Is that common practice here? What would you recommend? We're happy to follow your advice.
Kel-Ty-Mon is incredibly safe. There is occasionally street crime, of course, as there is in any city, but the streets are well patrolled. The city patrol go out with often seers and astrologers that can quickly identify perpetrators of crimes. Generally, only gentlemen and ladies travel out with weapons, and they're more accessories than considered weapons of war. My advice is, unless you have a particularly beautiful rapier or a particularly well-fitted falchion or hanger, I would leave your gear of war at home.
Thank her a great deal and go back and report to the party. So Tarquin's gear is all beautiful, but only because of its function, not because of its looks. So Tarquin will take nothing.
Okay.
Cool. Gray will take that under advice as well.
I think Mythan has a dagger, is that correct? Can that be hidden?
Yep.
Leave it, Grey. I'd leave it.
Yeah, Gray has a dagger, so he'll take his dagger too.
Mythan will want to take a dagger, right?
I would say that wearing a dagger or a knife in this culture, in this world, is not considered going. Most people will have some kind of utility knife. It is not. Maybe not always flash around, but it's not out of the realm of possibility to carry a small knife on you.
Thank you. Mythan will take her small dagger. Hidden.
Okay.
Yep.
Now will keep a dagger on her, and she'll keep her belt with her pouches and all jewelry, and yeah.
Okay.
But not a pack.
All right. Sorry.
I guess Tarquin will take a knife with that advice. Thanks, Chris.
Okay.
A dagger.
Sure. You head out into the streets with guided by Alf, who seems to be as helpful and kind as he can. He seems quite nervous, particularly around Mithan. Like he's not a particularly tall kid, and Mithan, of course, is absolutely gargantuan and not the most friendly of person. So he quite actively has avoided Mithan, and tends to gravitate more naturally towards Tarquin. He leads you through a number of streets, quite beautiful as you can see, and again, quite a good number of cats out. There are people out. The shops are busy. There are a few beggars that you see and a few ne'er-do-wells, but definitely uncommon, and particularly from where you've just been in Landania, a very pleasant and refreshing change. The people that you see, people in authority, are indeed incredibly well armed, and you can see a few in this image. I shared this last time up on screen. They're often in full plate, and they will often have be accompanied in groups of 4 or 5, carrying typically spears, swords, shields. Pardon me. And often there is a robed person, often in white, not always, but often in white, with a shaven head that accompanies them. You can only assume that they are magic users. Again, as I mentioned last session and touched on a little bit this time, there is quite a lot of magic in this town. Quite a lot of what you would call small magic or prosaic magic. Magic that involves the fixing and the mending of things. Clothes that need mending or cleaning, perhaps. Often using small magic, prosaic magic to do that is used. Often small magic is used for dealing with livestock or the mending of books or some elements of music or preparing meals or even forging. And indeed with dealing with garments and fashion as well. A lot of people don't even really call it magic. Some people just simply term it the craft. Often people are known as crafty people, as you know, she's a crafty woman or he is quite crafty. They just are in tune with how to do things. Depends where you are in this world. If you start flashing even that modest magic around in certain parts, that might get you strung up and hung. But certainly here, this would have to be one of the most pronounced that you have seen of this small magic or common magic being used. The buildings, as you can see, are quite grand. You also see up in the sky your friend the comet that has followed you, of course, all the way from Landania, and of course you've now been seeing it for quite some time. It started out, of course, as a comet at night, and then it's slowly grown and become more and more visible, and you can see it there quite clearly. Your guide's Alf seems to grow in confidence, etc., as he treks to Tarquin, and he seems to relax a little bit more as time goes on, quite halting. You do notice both he and the widow Antithes's mother actively don't ask you questions about you. They will ask about your observations, about the city, about what you think, etc., etc., etc. The only question so far that you've been asked about you, specifically, is what happens to Keros. Everything else has been on other matters. You travel through the streets for maybe, say, some 20 or 30 minutes, and you turn down a street that looks a little bit like this. Fountain at one end, plenty of cats around, and it's the street of, clearly the street of scissors. Just picking up a little bit of background noise. Yeah, just wonder if people, thank you. Thanks. The street of scissors. There are racks of cloth and bolts of cloth out from each shop. There are people busy snipping away at garments, sitting outside, chatting to passers-by, and a flurry of needlework. And indeed, there are some people using small magic. Elf seems to know exactly where he's going, and walks down to a smaller, probably less grand establishment. This one is slightly unusual that it actually has clothes on a rack. Most of these other places that you've passed have all been people making garments, and with some half-finished garments on display, and a few in the window. But this is a different world from ours. You don't just nip down to the local convenience store and get a packet of something. In many cases, you need to ask for something to be made. In some cases, at least. However, the shop that Elf, the establishment that Elf takes you to, does appear to have a number of garments that are literally off the rack. He has a conversation with a middle-aged man, quite a paunch on him, and he's perhaps has suffered a stroke or something. Part of his mouth is slightly downturned, but he turns to you with a winning smile and says in Vargonese, "My young friend says you're seeking garment, yes, and properly so, yes."
So Tarquin will turn on his charm to about 150%, give him a little bow, tell him how lovely it is to see him, how lovely his shop looks, and how special his shop is for clearly being able to provide what we might be able to need in a way that many others can't. We'll explain that old Elf is absolutely right. We've arrived in town and discovered we need fresh clothes to visit. Now, I'm not good with names either, Graham. What's the name of the seer we're going to try and see?
Lady Safina.
Thank you. Lady Safina, tomorrow. You need some clothes for our party suitable for such a prestigious audience, and ask him if he's able to help us.
Of course, my good-looking friend. For all of you, including, and he looks up at Mithan, this fine gentlewoman.
So I guess again, Tarquin will smile broadly and say, "Indeed, all of us, we are a strange and unusual crew. We've worked our way to be close allies together, and we thank you for your help in trying to find us appropriate garb."
Well, it's just a bit of a short time frame, a bit tricky, There is the matter of some coinage, and at this stage, Tarquin, I'd ask you to make a trading roll, please. This is must.
Sorry, Chris, the roll is 9.
9?
And his it's going to be whatever. I don't know quite why he's got such a ridiculously high duping, but it's 96 divided by 4, which I think is 24, if I can do math.
Oh, okay. Very good. Okay. So, after quite some haggling, it's not going to be 5 gold pieces, or maybe it is, actually. Yeah, you spend the majority of the afternoon speaking with Timos, as this man's name, you discover, over several cups of tea. And you spend a good amount of time speaking with this person. You finally settle on a price which is, and this is the final price, this is the part of the process, and this involves your dice roll, 4 times the price of high quality, or higher quality, certainly much higher quality than what you're wearing. Trousers, dresses, appropriate garb for all of those present. So, can someone because the GM is doing other things, can someone, and it'd be nice to help out the GM, find the price of pants and shirt, times it by 4 times, and then times it by the number of people, and that's the cost, please. And please do mark it off and let us know what that tally is.
I can do that.
Thank you, Pete.
So sorry again. City cost times 4 times number of people.
Correct. You got it.
Right. Yep, will do. And I'll just take it out of Leif's money.
Let us know as you do it. The Timos says, and it's been kind of late afternoon by the time you've finished your haggling, depending on the price. Will it be over 5 GP? It probably won't. No, it won't be over 5 GP. So no, it was maybe a bit less in terms of time. So you probably take a couple of hours thinking about it rather than 4 hours to haggle. And once the price has been agreed, which is 4 times, as I say, the normal cost, Timos gets to work, and he is a fast worker. He may be a bit older, but his hands and his scissors know what they're doing. And by around dusk of that evening, he has managed to do a nip and tuck job on all of those present. So all of the people up on screen, who am I looking at? So that is Tarquin, Demos, Mithan, Grey, and Neathanel, excluding both Leif and Etienne. Timos has stitched and sewn and pulled fabric in and done some discreet fitting. Oh, and also boots, Pete, just realised, because you'll need some better quality footwear than your travel-stained, blood-stained, riot-stained shoes.
Sure.
By dusk, 6 p.m., 7 p.m. that evening, as the lights are beginning to dim in the beautiful city of Kel-Ty-Mon, you're all looking pretty good. You're not looking amazing. You have definitely been dressed in finer clothes on several other occasions, such as your time spending with Demos's patron Costas Petrides, and in various other places where you've had lavish accommodation. But you're definitely looking a lot better than you were. Could still need a good shower and a bath, or a bath, I should say, and some perfume. But you're definitely looking a lot better. And do you have a price there, Pete? Maybe not yet.
Still working on it, but
okay.
Yeah, yep. I'll post it in the main chat soon.
It should be less than. I guess you'll tell us. So yes, around 7 or so p.m. that evening, you're outfitted and you're looking pretty good. What do you do?
Yeah, I guess at this point we thank Timos profusely for his nimble skills.
You're most welcome. Most welcome.
Pay him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, is tipping normal in this world, or would that be insulting?
Depending on the place. No, and not here.
Okay, we'd pay him, thank him, and I think we'd ask Alf if we could head back. Unless there's other things we need to do. Is there anything else we need to purchase while we're in town? Let's go home. And Tarquin, for one, wants a bath.
Okay. You head back to your accommodation. You settle in. There's a good, hearty meal. You would term it more human in its composition, perhaps not surprisingly, because the Widow Antithus and Elf are human. Than Elven. Good quality food, olives and good bread and other things. What do you do for that evening? Any actions?
Bathe. bathe, wash your hair, get yourself looking good, whack on some perfume, get a good night's sleep.
What's
Fashion
Victory up
show.
to? Sorry.
Pretty much as described in the read aloud text from the quite lengthy read aloud text from the GM. She really does stay pretty close to the coffin. She doesn't stray far away from that.
Oh, and so Chris, once Tarquin's cleaned up, he might wander down and have a chat to our host. We've eaten, right? Thank you for dinner.
Yep.
Thank you for accommodation. And just check out with her. We'll explain that our colleague who we're hoping to restore has a very close pet, Karios the cat, who no doubt she's seen amongst our party. And I'll just ask her views about taking her with us when we go to see the lady tomorrow, as we know that certainly that would be Karios's with and probably what she'll be looking for as soon as she appears back with us if we're successful.
As far as I know, Lady Safina is a kind woman. I don't know of her love of animals, but I know she is rumored to be a good person.
I guess I'll thank her, and if she's got nothing else to tell me, and thank her for the information today, I'll go back and tell the others.
Any other actions? Anything else your characters do?
Just so you know, 3 GP
It's
and 40. Yeah, 3 GP, 44 BP.
Okay. Please do take a note of that, whoever's...
Oh, I've taken it off late for everyone, so the total amount. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Tarquin will thank Leif for his lovely new clothes as well then.
Okay. Right, yeah, I mean... Yeah, any actions that I should be aware of? Goodness, quite
I'm
a
just
bunch tonight.
So I'm just going to say, Leif, I put it in the chat earlier, but Leif is this aware that Kairos has actually got in her possession. I assume it's still on her body. I don't know if we did. I can't remember if we did anything about it. The special dagger. So he, in discussion with other people in the group, he would volunteer to hold on to that whilst she is off at the very powerful healer who might take an interest in this strong magical item. If anyone else objects, just say. But it's a cautious thing to do.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Gray would just be, I don't know, he'd just be kind of chilling and kind of trying on his new clothes, feeling the fabric against his skin.
Mm-hmm.
Not a fan of it, but would do it just the same.
Okay. All right. Wow. Quiet team tonight. All right. A bit of narration from me then. Unless anybody does anything, and there is no requirements to just listen to Chris prattle on. By the way, you can do anything in this game you wish. But unless I hear anything otherwise, I'm assuming you settle in for the night and have a restful and very pleasant night's rest at the guest house with your hosts. Next morning, the weather is again beautiful the next day. You're up relatively early. You're given quite a delicious breakfast by the widow Antithus. She's quite quiet. She's watching. You feel as though she's watching you quite closely. She smiles kind of encouragingly when she catches one of your eyes over breakfast. She gets the sense that this could be quite a big day for you and Kairos. Any... Let's try to drag blood out of a stone here, but any actions or anything I should be aware of, guys?
I think Gray would probably go and to Kairos and just tell her what's going to happen. What that they're just reassured that they're going to bring her back and that he's seeing her.
Nice.
That's so lovely, and
Yeah.
I think Keros would know that. I know she's dead, but sort of we know in the real world that hearing is the last thing to go. So when people go and visit people who are unconscious or who are in stage of life, they do hear and they do know, and I think she would hear that and she would know that. I like to think that anyway, whether the GM
Right.
has a different view, but that's really lovely. Thank you.
So I think Tarquin would try and hide himself away briefly and say a few prayers, but he certainly wouldn't want other people seeing him slip off.
Okay. Done. Sure. Okay. Oh, I did have, actually, speaking of such things, I did have one little thing to share. Etienne. Just, what's this screen up? There we go. Etienne, just coming into your chat in a tech. This happened last night, by the way.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm not getting. That was a really nice touch from Gray. Tarquin, you hit away and pray. I'm assuming that you wake the next day. You have something to eat. You bathe again, looking you're shiny and best. You're in your new clothes as best you can.
Absolutely.
Looking tidy, and again, this time shouldering with some burly people, shouldering Keros's coffin. Alf sets out into the street and leads you through and on to the Whispering Balm clinic. You arrive at this building, actually, not slight error by my counts. You actually arrive at this building. Very similar, but slightly off. This building here, and the Whispering Balm Clinic stands at the heart of Kel-Ty-Mon, nestled between grand marble buildings of ancient elven structures. Its entrance is marked by graceful arched doorways adorned with intricate carvings of intertwined vines and healing symbols. The marble walls are cool to the touch, their pinkish-whitish hue reflecting the city's prosperity. You head to up to the doors and head inside. A very young woman, she perhaps early 20s, bows. She seems to know or at least recognize Alf, and they have a quiet conversation. And the young woman turns to you all and says, "Greetings. Welcome to the Whispering Balm Clinic. My mistress, the Lady Saphira, is waiting to meet with you. Please, come with me, and of course, please bring your friends." And she gestures towards the coffin. Inside, the clinic excludes soothing ambience. Sunlight filters through stained glass windows, casting colourful patterns on the polished stone floors. The air carries the scent of dried herbs and healing potions. Further inside, shelves line the walls, displaying jars filled with powders, tinctures, and salves. You're taken into what can only be described as some kind of consulting room, and it's quite cluttered yet relatively well organized, if that makes sense, and featuring an ancient wooden table. And seated behind the table is this woman. She gets to her feet and she smiles. And it's a warm and it's a friendly smile. Welcome, she says in Vargonese. Come in, my ducks, come in. Please, I've been waiting for you, and please put the dear girl on that slab there, on that counter there. And she gestures to a large slab in the center of the room. Please come, sit. And she gestures to a small array of seats around her. She comes up to each one of you and introduces herself. She bows, puts her hands on her heart. You're all struck by the way, all of you, no perception rolls required, of a strange odor amongst this woman. Almost like old cheese. It's not a very pleasant smell. But and certainly the cankers or whatever it is on her faces are quite hideous. One of them is oozing some slightly yellowish white pus, and looks frankly pretty horrid. Please, come in, my ducks. Come in. Sit down. So, I have heard from our intermediary that you have an interesting situation in front of you, and I'd be delighted to help if I can. But first, introductions, please. Who are you? And I always like to know more about my patients and my patients' relatives. And she looks around the group.
I think Tarquin will take the lead, and thank her for her time and her audience, and using all of his charm, tell her how much we've heard of her skill, and the skill within her city generally, and how it speaks highly of her and her city. He'll introduce himself as a half-elf from some distance away from here, and explain that he's new to the group and doesn't believe anyone is a blood relative, but certainly has been impressed by how the group acts, as if they are the family they've chosen for each other. And I think Nathaniel speaks Vargonese, right? So we would look at Nathaniel.
Nathaniel speaks Sindarin.
Okay, in which case, I guess Tuck will go around and explain that not everybody in the group speak Vargonese, and he's happy to introduce his friends and colleagues, and we'll go around the group and introduce them by name to Lady Saphira, and wait to see what more she'd like.
Okay, does anybody else speak in Sen? And by the way, Giles, just to check, when you say you need to tell me if you want to make a roll, by the way, or if so.
Oh, sure. Oh, look, I'm happy just to tell you what I'm doing. If I'm telling you I'm turning on the charm, I'm happy for you to tell me if there's value in a roll, in which case I'll roll, and if there's not, I'm happy just for it to roll.
Okay.
For the game, just keep going.
All right.
Yep. If there's no value, I don't want to.
Yeah, look, so give me a roll.
$18.
Unmasked, because this is a result you can see.
And you know.
What's his what's his skill, please?
85.
Okay. I mean, he is quite charming, but that was a relatively unimpressive result.
3, that's tough.
Yeah, I mean, you're actually kind of doing okay, and then you kind of got a little bit impatient, and you butted in when she was about to speak, and she just kind of backs off a little bit. You can either leave it at that. It wasn't bad. Nothing bad happened exactly, but you just didn't really kind of charm her, really. You could try again if you wanted to with a -10, or you could leave it there. Your call.
Just so I understand the technical element of the game, I don't understand the degree of risk. Is there a mechanism for understanding that well, or is there just not?
If you roll a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that is a failure downwards. You roll again, and if you roll less than 25, you haven't. Oh, I'll show you.
Thanks. Sorry, guys.
That's all right. So you've already got this chart, by the way, but you would roll a blunder. You tried your tricks on the wrong person this time. The worst possible reaction was engendered in your target, so it could end. It could end in utter disaster. It could also end in a very positive result too.
Okay,
Or you
I
could
think
just
on
leave
balance,
it. Or you could just leave it as is. Your call.
I think he'll try. I think he'll apologise for his blunder and get back into his charm offensive. But I think he will. He'll have another go.
Okay, give me a roll.
80.
Okay. Plus 85, you said?
85.
Minus
Yeah.
10. Yeah, this time you caught yourself quite well, and oh ye of the silver tongue, you've smooth talked your target into tractability. Have you considered a career in politics? You think you have anyway. I mean, there is definitely a glint of fierce intelligence behind this woman's eyes. She is clearly very, very smart. She probably, you don't know for sure, but you probably get the sense she is quite aware that you are very charming. But you definitely come across as a very nice guy as you make your introductions around your group. Does anybody else speak? Does anybody else say anything? Does anybody else introduce themselves in either Japanese or another language?
I think when Gray's introduced by Tarquin, he'd probably kind of try and do like a bow, but it'd probably be really clumsy and awkward. But he's just trying to be respectful.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Kind of all he would do.
Excellent. Lovely. Anybody else?
Mithan will probably just smile. She probably thinks she's being warm, but it's probably come off like that. I guess she would be wanting to acknowledge the status and the power that this woman holds, and acknowledge that she doesn't speak the language, and she will do a little bow, not too deep, obviously, but just acknowledge her status.
Okay. Great.
But it probably doesn't come off very well.
Okay, good. Anybody else?
I think Demos speaks very low Dragonese. So I think he'd try and he'd bow and try and mumble like
Sorry,
thank you.
he speaks very low. What, sorry?
Is it Varganese?
Oh, yep. Could you give me a communication?
language?
Yeah, could you give me a communications roll, please, Demos? So what's his level?
4.
4. So the rule of thumb, by the way, I'm assuming, by the way, Tarquin, you speak either Vargonese or Sindarian at least at 6+. With 6+, rank 6, you don't need to make a roll. Yeah, great. Lovely, thank you. So 4. So you've got plus 40, plus what is your reasoning and memory added together and divided by 2, please, Demos?
Oh my gosh. Okay, hang on. Reasoning, memory, 8, 4.
4, great. So
Yeah.
you got 44 to this roll. Give me a roll, please. Let's see how you go.
Okay. We'll go. 31.
31.
Oh no.
Free Bobs continue to mip, 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 boop, scroot, skawoosh, squish, squish, bork, 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 bork. She looks at you quite confused, Demos. Doesn't seem to know
It just
what you said.
like bow his head and just back away and stand at the back.
Who brought him? Okay. Anybody else? She doesn't appear to be particularly put out of sorts, and she kind of smiles a little bit, but she looks a little bit puzzled. So tell me your story, she says. You're friends of this young woman, and what happened before I see the patient?
So I think Tarquin would explain that shortly after joining the party, who act like family, there was an attack, and this woman was killed. And it was very clear from the response of the group how central in love this woman was, and the behaviour of the group has indicated that to absolutely be the case since. And I think he would even point out that Grey appears to be particularly cautious of the body of Carius in quite a moving and pretty forceful way. He'd explained that they travelled to a small seaside town where they were fortunate enough to meet a follower of, please help me here guys, Hera. Is that right?
Yeah, priestess of Hera. Yep.
A priestess of Hera who was able to do magic, the way Tarquin would probably describe it, in order to stop her body decay. And that the group has been wholly and solely motivated since the attack to find a way to try and restore Carius to life. And that Tarquin's understanding from speaking to Mithan, and would point to Mithan, is that what's needed is a reconstitution of her heart and lung, and then the amazement of bringing back life. And Tarquin would explain he has an understanding that the group has, you'd probably say, rapid access to a herb that is life-bringing if the body is constituted whole. And after that, obviously, there's the need to ensure she's able to function within her life, and would ask if she is able to help with those three actions. Tarquin can't help it. He'd lean forward. And I think Etienne's gone for a pint, so Etienne's not with us at the moment. But he'd lean forward and say a very close friend of his and party member who helped bring Carius here is missing a hand. And if there's any possibility she could do something about that too, he'd personally be delighted, and ask how she'd like to proceed. Sorry, just before we carry on, Chris, can I just check with everybody else that my slightly illness-addled brain hasn't missed anything important?
I think you did a great job.
Thanks, Pete.
Okay. Well, her eyebrows definitely raise at the talk of already having easy access to a life-giving herb. She says, well, thank you for the information. I'm sorry to hear such tragedy has befallen you. No time like the present. Let's see her. She walks over to the coffin. It's opened, and Keros's shroud-wrapped body is taken out by you, her companions. It's put down on the slab, and bit by bit, the windings come off. And this experienced, clearly very seasoned, slightly cheese-smelling woman, you all, those watching closely, there's an intake of breath as she looks at the absolutely hideous injuries to Keros's chest, where the acid has eaten into her chest, and the chest cavity basically where her lungs and her heart should be, and also the rot on her face. She says, and puts a hand on Keros's body. Ooh, and there's a 96. So she pauses for a minute, her eyes are closed, and then she wipes her forehead and she turns to you. Well, my ducks. She has been well preserved. The priestess of Hira you mentioned has done a good job, although a shaman hasn't managed to affect her in time to cure all the rot. I'm not sure if that will ever be cured. Yes, I can heal the poor land. I can heal the poor land. That is absolutely within my power, and I can do it today. I can do it now.
I mean,
and you're in double luck that I too actually have a highly prized and highly valuable herb, a wonderful leaf called Typhera, which would bring your friends back from the dark path. But first, as you, Tarquin, are quite right in saying, both her heart and her lungs will need to be regenerated, correct? Then she is to be brought back from her dark journey. Now, at that stage, she and this poor body has suffered immense trauma. And there is a chance, and I would say a strong chance, that she will have some permanent damage. And I would say that permanent damage comes in 3 cases. Firstly, the repair of, the regeneration of her heart. You'll see inside there is no heart left. I will have to literally summon a new heart for this poor child. Secondly, a risk of permanent damage regarding this poor girl's lost lungs, which have been eaten away by goodness knows what foulness. And then lastly, some permanent damage relating and bringing her back out of her dark slumber. And I would say to you that the risk is not small, but depending on how luck and fortitude holds with you and her, she might be brought back, and she might be brought back with limited ailments, limited effects, or she might have some serious effects. But that is beyond my skill as a healer, and that is purely in the luck of the gods.
so I guess I think correctly. Sorry, Chris.
You were also right in saying once her body has been healed with both new heart and new lungs, and she has been summoned from the dark path that she is on, you are correct. Her essence, her very strength, her faculties, her constitution, her ability to move quickly and freely, all of those have been badly impacted by the trauma initially wreaked upon her body, and then indeed by her body slowly shutting and locking and shutting down. And some priests will be required beyond a magic that is different to mine to put that essence back into that power, that strength, that constitution back into this poor child's body. That is something I cannot do. That is something you will need to find a willing and cooperative senior priest to help you with. But I can repair her body, and I can bring her back from her dark path. The last thing I would say is it will take some time for her to recover. I would say at least a minimum of 10 days that she will not wake, if not perhaps 15 days. But after that, and assuming that her other faculties have been repaired, she will wake. She'll be very weak, and she won't be able to do a great deal when she wakes, but she will be awake and alive. But I can do this. I can do my 3 parts in this activity, and I can do them now. There is, of course, a small part and a small matter of my fee.
So I thank you profusely. I clearly show relief because I'm relieved. I think Tarquin would ask if he can relay the information to his party, who doesn't also speak Vargonese.
Of course.
And
Of course.
would also ask her that if there's any chance that anyone might have a skill that would assist her to improve the odds or decrease the risk she talks about. At least Tarquin could suggest that to the group to see if anyone could be of assistance.
There is no one. It is purely in the luck of the gods and beyond my skill or any other healer's skill that I know. It is not possible.
I'd thank her, turn to the group, relay the message, and tell them I presume we want a cost and to go ahead. Yeah? Help me out, team.
I'm not there, but I agree. Sounds good. And perhaps send someone for Etienne?
Yeah, I don't know where Etienne's gone. So maybe I'd turn to, I don't know, say Demos and suggest to Demos he might like to nip out and see if he can find Etienne, who's missing a hand. This woman might be able to help. And I think I'll turn back to...
First things first, let's heal your friend now.
Yep, so I'll turn back to Lady Saphira and thank her and ask her what the cost for these services will be.
Cool. Could you make a trading roll, please? A gentle trading roll. You're not going...
58.
What's your bonus?
24.
You chat for a little bit, and we're not going to do the usual 4-hour time here. 58. Of course it's mast. 58.
It could be very good or very bad.
Yep.
58 is better than 50.
24. Yeah. Cool. Okay. 1 second, just while the GM does a little bit of calculation. Coming. So, she says as follows. So my fee to administer the Typhera is 1,000 gold pieces. Typhera itself is... Just let me find it.
What are you doing there, Chris? Pete, sorry, we've got Typhera literally with us and on our person, don't we?
Yes, Nathan has it. I assume. Yep.
Typhera itself will cost you 5,000 gold pieces. So 1,000 to administering, 5,000 gold pieces for the Typhera herb itself. And then to heal her heart, the cost will be 2,565 gold, and to heal her lungs, the same, 2,565 gold. And she comes up and she puts her arm on Tarquin and she says, I usually charge 1,500 for the administering of Typhera, but my boy, I like you. You've got a glint in your eye. So grand total, 5,000 for the Typhera, 2,565. Wait a sec, 2,505 times 2 is 5 plus 1,000. Plus 5,000 for the Typhera, 11,310 gold.
So I think Tarquin would lean into her as she's leaned into him, would smile broadly, would thank her so much for her abilities to act, and thank her so much for offering us the price she has for the use of Typhera. He'd roll his eyes in his best charming style and say, unfortunately, we're not emperors. And although some of my party members have had some remarkable luck in the ascertainment of gold, the price of 11,000 is simply beyond us. We do, however, have with us Typhera. And would you be able to use our Typhera so as to save us that $5,000, at which point we can clean ourselves out and pay your fee? And again, we thank you so much for offering us this service, and would be forever in your debt and gratitude.
Well, of course, of course, absolutely, of course. If you have your own, let me see it, please.
I turn to Mithan, speak to Mithan in whatever Mithan's language is, and ask for a dose of Typhera to show Lady Saphira to make sure it's good to go. It would explain to the group what it's going to cost, which is like eye-watering.
6,310 gold pieces.
And mention the fact we just saved 5,000 gold pieces on the cost of a dose of Typhera. Help me, people. Is anyone here?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah. So Mithan will present the herb.
Gray would pat him on the shoulder and say, "Well done."
Okay.
I think Gray might be surprised, but Tarquin would give him a beaming smile because he likes Gray.
Okay. Excellent. Well, Lady Saphira looks inside this stone box that Mithan has been carting around since you ransacked the Seer's Tower up in the North Sea. Looks over it and says, yes, the quality is amazing. What a strange device that manages to keep it fresh. Yes, this will serve adequately. Please, if you would provide me with your funds, if you'd place them over there. I'm assuming you guys are willing to part with 6,310 gold.
I guess we'll turn to whoever's the moneymaker.
We just double check that price.
Do the math.
Just our calculation was 2,565, correct?
Correct. So it should be 6,130. Will be the total cost.
2,665. Oops.
6,100.
2,565 times 2 plus, yes, you are correct, plus 1,000. 6,130. Correct.
Thank you.
I have my ones and my threes around the wrong way. Cool.
I do have all the time.
You 6,130 gold. Can you please minus that from the party's amount?
Jesus.
Are you going to pay that for Keros?
What do you mean we just did? It's not, are you going to? You've got the tense wrong, Alex.
Crazy.
Lady Cyphera, after the money has been put to one side and Lady Cyphera's assistant comes in and relieves you of that quite physically large sum of money, Lady Cyphera places her hands on Keros. And here's a dice roll coming into the main game chat for Lady Cyphera to fail on a 1 or a 2 for the first of exclamation mark space D100. This is to heal Keros's lungs. She rolls a 1 or a 2, it's a failure. It's a 30. Spell.
Chris, I have enough anxiety in my work life. I don't need this, bro.
The spell goes off and you see this warm kind of glow spread out from her hands. And peering, for those that can see inside, peering inside Keros's currently open ribcage, the fusing of lungs comes into view. Again, after a pause and a wait of a few minutes, she sits down. She has, you're quite interested to see, she pours herself quite a strong drink. Some of you thought it was wine initially, but actually it's some kind of reddish liquor, you think. She pauses again for a few minutes. Sorry, just getting a bit of feedback. Pauses again, then comes over to her body. Keros, sorry, can someone...
here.
Graham, can you pop yourself on mute, please?
Sorry.
Thank you. Comes back over to the body, and again, exclamation mark R space D100. And again, there's this glow. And from her hands, you see the very last of the inside of Keros's chest cavity as this horrible, horrible injury closes up with Keros's intact new heart beneath the skin. Lady Cyphera then takes the herb and she looks at it reverently and checks it. She says there is a chance of error with this. I am highly skilled at the weaving of potions and spells, but there is always the chance that this does not go to plan. For whatever gods you pray to them now. She spent some time with the Typhera. It's a leaf, and she gets out a large morsel and pestle. And here is the preparation roll. Exclamation mark R space D 100. If she rolls a failure, this could be interesting. It's a 98.
It has to count for something.
It does count for something. So with her skill, with this, it counts for not just something, it counts for a lot. So she gets, because of the difficulty of using this herb, she gets a negative 30 to this roll, but she also gets to roll again because that was such a phenomenal roll. Exclamation mark R space D 100. 28 plus her skill of something quite considerable. Okay. So she breathes a sigh of relief. She's using this mortar and pestle, and you notice that she's very, very tense as she starts to grind this precious leaf up. And she just, there's this intake of breath, and she says, I think I did that well. And now she then scoops some of the, and she adds a couple of other oils and some other things into the mortar and pestle. She takes this paste and she comes over to Keros's body and she says, I now need to apply it. Again, there is a risk with this, but I did do a reasonably good job on preparing. And again, not trying to game it, but she could screw this up if she fails it. But she does get a bonus to the roll because she prepared it so well with a 98! Exclamation mark, space, D100. If she rolls a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Keros could have a problem. Here's the roll. Did I just roll another 98?
You did, baby! You
Damn!
did!
It's meant to be.
Exclamation mark.
Because you love your wife! Because you love your wife!
Exclamation mark, R, space, D100. I don't believe that. I'm not rigging it. I promise I'm not rigging it. Plus 30, plus her skill. I've got to do a sound. I can't believe that. Did you see that roll?
That's amazing.
It's amazing. It's incredible.
I can't look. I can't look at any. I'm not listening. I'm not looking. I'm not doing anything.
I believe in a thing called love, Chris. I believe in a thing called love. You just showed it through the manipulation of charm.
Absolutely. So she applies it to Keros's body and just breathes an absolutely massive sigh of relief. Oh, thank goodness, she says. I've done it right. And life, bereft of Keros's body for about 12, 15 days, perhaps longer, returns. And all of you see, it's faint, very, very faint, but slowly, Keros's chest begins to rise and fall. She is breathing again.
Where's my cat?
Not known for his unbridled displays of passion, but I think Tark will be looking for someone to give a hug to.
Now, I did say earlier on, or Lady Saphira said there were 3 critical rolls about permanent damage from severe death or injury. And this, going into the party chat, is what you now need to roll on, Keros, to see what happens to Keros being recovered. It's coming into the chat. Now, you might be fine. You might have issues. Coming into the chat. Coming. It's in the chat. Now. So Keros, I'd like you to make 3 rolls. The first roll is to see having a new set of lungs installed into your body. Is there a lasting and permanent damage associated with that? We then do the same for the heart, and then we do the same for the shock and trauma of you being brought back to life. So I think it's only fair, Keros, that you roll this, so I'd like you to compose yourself. And when you're sitting comfortably, no pressure here, can you please roll a 1d10? If you roll 101 plus, and this is using your constitution, not your constitution bonus, but your constitution stat itself, which is 12. So if you manage
17.
Okay, I wasn't quite finished, but I'll take that roll, and unfortunately that's not a good roll. So,
No. Sorry, my constitution stat was 17. I haven't rolled yet.
No. So, no,
Oh.
your constitution is what I shared on the screen before. Your constitution is 12.
Oh, because it's decreased.
You got
Okay.
it. You got it. So you've got to roll the
Sorry.
dice. You've got to roll the dice, and you've got to hope that you manage to top 101. If you top 101, Keros,
Oh, God.
you are. There is no permanent damage. And by the way, this will be happening for severe injuries in the future. So when people get a severe injury, they will need to do this as well. That's like a shattered injury. That's like it's a major injury. It's getting a hand cut off, etc. The one difference between what Keros is doing and what other characters may do in the future is other characters' constitution wouldn't have decreased as Keros has had because they haven't died. So you would be, so for example, if you've got a high constitution, you'd only need a much lesser amount to top 101. So the challenge in front of Keros is considerable because her body has decayed and her constitution is so low. So Keros, when you're ready, when you're sitting comfortably, for your lungs, please make a dice roll, and you want this to be a very high dice roll, and you want to top 101. Give me a roll, please.
Yeah, I'm not sitting comfortably. I'm not relaxed, and so this is a D10 I'm rolling.
No,
Did you say
D100? You've got a top, so 100, and it is open-ended, by the way. It goes up and down. Give me a roll.
I don't want to. Can't we just let her have her lungs back? Okay. I rolled. Oh, God.
10 plus 12 is a 22. The difference between 101 and 22 is 79. That is a severe permanent damage. Roll the permanent damage, and you want a low result here between 1 and 100. You want it low.
Oh, 89. Wrong way round.
Crippled. Major. One arm or one leg is crippled beyond repair. Bad scarring. Your appearance drops by 40. And you have negative 10 to every single action Keros does, every single roll she makes, till the day she dies.
I'm going to positively reframe that and say until the day she dies again.
Again!
She's dead already.
Not many of us have the agains.
Okay, so the crippled in the one arm will come back to. Her appearance drops by 40. That was the roll for the lungs. Can you do better on the heart?
Okay. I'm not feeling very good about any of this. 26.
26 plus 12 is 36. 65. That's another severe, I'm afraid. Give me a roll for another severe. You want it low.
Okay. I rolled a 9.
A 9 is low. So Sloth, the injuries that Keroth has sustained make her slow. Slower at movement. Her movement slows by 20%, so her base movement rate goes down by 20%. She's also got another 35, negative 35 to her appearance. That 9 was a good result. Could have been a lot worse. And then lastly, to actually be brought back from death, the last roll. Give me your roll, please.
Thirty. 36.
36 is the same result. No, 53. No, that's another severe, I'm sorry. Roll again, Keros. And you want a low result here.
Oh dear. $51.
51. Keros, you have pain intolerance, which means I'll send all this out, but you have a low pain threshold. Every time you take damage, you must make a resistance roll versus your own level, modified by triple your self-discipline bonus and by the number of concussion hits. If the resistant rolls fails, you fall unconscious. You also have a stutter, and you also have permanence -10 to 1d5 stats. How many stats does this affect, please, Keros? Give me a roll.
10.
No, sorry, 1d5.
Oh,
yep,
D.
Yep.
Sorry. Sorry. 1.
One stat. Okay. So, Keros, you have a damaged leg or a damaged arm. We can chat about which one. Your appearance has dropped by 75%. You have -10 actions. You have pain intolerance, stutter. One of your stats has dropped by 10, and your movement has dropped down.
And you're alive.
And you're alive.
Could be worse.
Yeah, could it though? I mean, I'm not fussed with the appearance, obviously, because, you know, true love is from the heart with Grey. And I just... Oh, God, what's the point? Like, I just need to have a think.
This is a total win, Alex, right? Everything is repairable. Even the non-permanent stuff. You can overcome death. You can overcome anything. Anything. Right? I've seen The Martian work the problem. Work the problem. You've worked the problem. Work the next problem.
Yeah. Would there be any kind of like amulets or any magical things she could wear that could give her like protection or like give her energy or movement or speed?
Well, and the other thing I wonder too, where we're going, if being a bit maimed and a bit deformed might actually be an advantage. Right? We're going to be out of place, looking all fit and healthy. Actually, you know, we might see these as disadvantages, but there might not be disadvantages from a, you know, overall mission perspective. It's you know, I mean, there are obviously some technical disadvantages in terms of rolling and resistance and blah blah, but you know, I don't see all of this as being all bad.
Yeah, being ungrateful and you spent all that money and all that time and... Can she...
Cartman's going to lean down and give her a little hug. So I don't know you. I'm pleased for you to be alive, and then we'll give Grey a little wink and move away.
So what's the spell casting? What's the disadvantage? -10. Okay.
So she will move at 25% less. Horrible scarring as mentioned. If she takes damage, there is a chance that she will pass out. She'll have a stutter. One of her stats will permanently go down by 10 and won't be able to be boosted. And she has lost the use of an arm or a leg, in the same way that Etienne has lost an arm or a leg. But in terms of mechanically, she now doesn't have a free hand. She's only got one. Well, it depends. You could either make it an arm or a leg. I'm suspecting you'll be making an arm. and there are some rules around each one, which I'll give you a chance to look over to decide which you want to go with.
Is that like that game we play, like Would You Rather?
Yeah.
Be blind or deaf,
is.
Would You Rather?
It is.
Is that permanent? This is permanent, right?
Permanent damage. Yep. This this is, yeah. Barring kind of divine intervention, this is stuff, as mentioned, as Lady Sapphira said, this is stuff that she can't and others can't heal.
Well, we are going to help the gods, so maybe if they thank us, they can give you some divine intervention.
Yeah, agreed.
She'd be looking for a hug from Leif, and is she conscious?
No, she's not going to be conscious for another 10 to 15 days.
Oh. Okay. I don't mean to be ungrateful. I'm sorry. I'm just like working through it. I really am not ungrateful at all. I think it's just incredible how the team has rallied, and this may not be the moment for the hero speech, but I'm a little disappointed, to be honest.
I think that's understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
And you've spent all that money, and
I think the group will just be pleased. We'll be just pleased to have her back.
Yes.
You're very sweet. Anyway, sorry, I don't want to hijack the moment because you've probably got stuff, Chris, and it's probably not the hero moment for the.
Would the group be aware of all of these things that will happen? Like, does this lady give us an indication so that we know that her speed is going to be, or we don't know?
No, this is player knowledge, not character knowledge.
Right. So we can't prepare.
Do we want to end it there? Is there any other further conversation you want to have with Lady Sapphira? Keros is now breathing. She's quite obviously breathing. Yeah.
Tarquin's pleased. Tarquin wants Idiom's hand back. That's what he wants.
Okay.
Demos would want to like kneel by Kiros's body and just like stroke her head and just quietly say like welcome back.
Oh.
Nice. Very nice. Quite an emotional moment. Anything?
I just need some time. Sorry. Oh no, sorry. If you're looking for something from me, I just need to like.
No, understand.
Yep.
Understand.
I'm gonna go on mute. Yep.
Okay. Are we wanting to leave it there, guys? This seems like a good place to leave it. But is there anything else pressing? Anything else either from Neathanol or Leif, or not? Leif's there.
I feel like that's a pretty good spot.
Okay.
So can we pick it up from this moment next time?
Done. That's where we're leaving it, guys.
Tough game.
I did did say from day one it wasn't going to be easy with Keros.
No, and you've done.